Welcome back to Ink and Ecstasy with Liz and Grimm. Tonight we're going to review A Chance Glance in a Student Bar by Many-Eyed Hydra.
Yeah, so this was an erotic horror. Basically, it's a story about a guy that has sex with a succubus and a demon. Basically,
Yeah, that's the basic rundown of it.
yeah, so I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't.
And it wasn't because it was erotic horror, which isn't a favorite of mine. Basically, the first half of the story is set up for the sex in the second half. And there was no erotic tension prior to the sex. It was just boom, wanna fuck?
Yeah, basically. It's a succubus. What you gonna do?
And I mean, there was some light boob play, but it was kind of understood at that point that sex was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So basically, this was a stroker, and I mean, there was a plot, sure, but it wasn't necessary to support the basic idea of a guy that nearly had all the life from his body sucked out through his balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any plot with demons,
I mean, it's a long stroker.
yeah, any plot with demons could have seen that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, is there even such a thing as a good demon? Don't answer that. You don't need to go there. So, so even though this was a stroker, like I don't get down on erotic horror like that. Although I have read a few that were interesting, but I don't know. What can I say? Tag searches just don't get me there.
Okay, so the thing that I liked about this story is that there was that interesting play on the one character, I forget his name, Carney, I think it was,
Yeah,
who kind of set things up as protecting the main character, Devin, and it made me want to see if, this might have been a series. But from what I can tell, it's not. It's not set up as a series on Many-Eyed Hydra's page. So I feel like that character was a little bit wasted, but it was still interesting to me. I like that he was kind of protective of the human. And I like that the demon and the succubus were kind of catty with each other over it when they came back and the protective thing.
they were fighting over him.
It wasn't so much, I don't think they were fighting over him as much as they were fighting over.
No, I want his life essence.
I don't think it was fighting over him so much as it was fighting over which one of them had more power to claim him.
Yeah,
It was a show of power between the two. And clearly the succubus was like, fuck, and had to back down because she was the weaker of the two. Which it's never said exactly what the second one is, but it's implied that she's also some sort of succubus, just maybe a higher ranking one with more powers. I like that he was like mind controlled for part of it. When it was clear from the start he was into the girl, so that was like completely unnecessary.
yeah. Well, I think once he found out that she was a succubus, that was probably going to be a mood killer for him.
Probably. But it also didn't seem like he was necessarily absolutely against it.
Mm,
I mean, there are some desperate people out there that would think, oh, what harm could a succubus do, really? Like,
there are plenty of guys that would say, "Well, yeah, probably very dangerous, but it's been a while. I'll take my chances."
Exactly. But yeah, like I did like that this was kind of using mind control almost needlessly. It was just fun to me because it was clearly her toying with him. Like, yeah, I know I can do this without this, but I'm going to anyways just because I can. But yeah, I just thought it was a fun story. The thing that I did not like about it though is there were quite a few mistakes that I noticed. I don't remember which ones they were offhand, but I did notice a few mistakes. I really should have taken notes.
What, like spelling or like plot holes?
I think plot holes and maybe a little bit of grammar, not much, but there was a little bit of grammar issues. But I'd have to reread it to.
Yeah, I noticed like maybe like one or two spelling or grammar things, but it was very, very light for what was that, 15K? Or oh no, that was like 8K, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 8K.
I mean, either way, it's still not terrible.
No, no, it wasn't terrible by any means.
But I didn't notice any plot holes.
Like I said, I think the main one I noticed was that Carney was just kind of there as to getting him out of the fight and had no other purpose really. And I wanted to know why he was used. That's never like he has no other purpose in that story, and he seemed like a really cool character, and that to me that was a really big missed opportunity. So why is he there? You know?
Well, that's kind of what I was saying, was that the first half of the story is basically just set up for the sex.
Yeah.
I kind of imagined that the way that this story developed was that the author had the idea for what was his name, Carney,
Mm-hmm.
and just his attitude and aura or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I mean, I don't know, like I have no idea what the author was actually thinking, but this is just kind of the feel that I get from it. And then it just, I don't know, it just seems like the story just sprang out of that, right? But yeah, he was like really kind of alive though. You know what I mean?
He was the most well-rounded character of the group
Yeah.
besides the main character. Like I wanted to know more about him. So I looked up some more information on the author. And apparently this started as a blog series on their website, which is manyeyedhydra.com. It started as like a short blog serial, and then it got cleaned up and posted on Lit. So it appears that, yeah, it started with the interaction between Devin and Carney, and this kind of morphed from there.
Aha.
Or Devin, Carney, and the couple in the bar. Speaking of which, the other demon, I didn't like him. It was clearly like a setup, and it was just like he was just there to cause a problem, and it could have been done so much better.
Well,
Like there were better ways to start that fight.
I mean, I think that, well, so I didn't have a problem with that, the way that played out. Because Carney walked up and he said, "Hey, what are you doing, man? You're just causing a problem."
Yeah,
Right?
basically, yeah.
If somehow the plot had advanced and the human, what was his name, Devin, if he somehow got out of that situation without Carney, readers probably would have said, well, that was kind of crazy. He just was just there just to cause a problem, and then now he's gone. Like,
Yeah,
why? You know?
yeah.
So, like, yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. I think as long as the author,
It was just the way that the fight started. I didn't care about for, which was, the whole he was portrayed as a nerd and acted like a jock. You know what I mean? He was portrayed as like a loser, wimpy guy who the main character could not see why she was with him.
yeah,
And then he acted like a jock when they actually ran into each other outside of the bar. That didn't track for me.
mm,
It seemed like it should have been more mind games instead of physical.
I don't know. I can overlook stuff like that because there's I don't know that there's really anything to overlook, because talking about demons that are overstepping their boundaries, right?
Right.
So I mean, they're like bloodthirsty demons and they're getting out of line.
Right.
Okay, so
So
I
portray
mean,
that.
can you
Why
expect them to act rational? You know what I'm
but
saying?
why portray them in a way that doesn't fit the characterization? If they had portrayed them as a jock from the beginning and he was, the main character was like a little jealous or something, that would have played off a little better, in my opinion.
What if it was just the main character's perception that he was some nerdy loser?
Yeah, but
Because
that's n
we are talking about demons. They are pretending to be humans. Maybe they don't know about different types of like human cliques or whatever.
it was mentioned they've been around for a very long time.
I mean, I guess, but
They would have to be really stupid.
hang on. I've got a great metaphor here.
Okay.
When you go to a restaurant and you're really hungry, are you paying attention to the other people that are eating there?
No, but when I'm looking for restaurants, I'm paying attention to what they serve.
Well, no, no, no. I mean, when you're actually in the restaurant.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. He was a meal being served up, and the demons were hungry, didn't care. But I pay attention to what's going around.
You've kind of got a one track mind when you're trying to feed.
Yeah, but you still know you're going to the right restaurant in that situation. Like you still know the clientele you're looking for if you're gonna eat someone. like
Well, I don't even know that it's worth going over, honestly.
it's not. It's not. It was a story that I thought was fun and I enjoyed reading. It was well written. It just there were a few parts that I didn't like about it that I think could have done better. And that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so it was well written. Definitely was.
Yeah, it's not a favorite of mine by any means, but it was just a stupid little, like you said, it was a stroker and erotic horror, which is right up my alley. And you're gonna hate me by the end of this because I have more erotic horror for you.
There's an end.
I mean, like eventually you're gonna get mad at me at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I did like that character, Carney, though.
Yeah,
Or,
it was. I want to see more about him. Like, I want to go into this person's story list and see if there's any more stories about Carney
oh my god.
because I definitely want to know more about him.
I have been trying to. Would you just let me say this?
No,
Like, you don't understand how many times,
go
like,
ahead, go
going
ahead.
back to like 10 minutes ago, like, I kept trying to like reel it back, and then you just keep like,
Okay, go for
you're
it.
just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just his like characterization, right? The way he just carried himself, I guess you could say. The way he said the music that Devin played for him, and he said, uh, "Dark with an undercurrent of violence, like a buzzsaw cutting through a sternum."
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, that was a really good
and,
line.
and like dialogue that's just so out there like that and not remarked upon in any way. That's just great, I have to say.
Yeah, everything built around Carney was great. Every interaction with Carney to me was great. Like I said, I just want to see if there's more about Carney in this person's story list because I really like that character.
Yeah.
Like he stole the show. I mean,
Yeah, he did kind of steal the show early on, and then he stepped out. But then there was that one demon towards the end. I don't know what she did. She like teleported them or like phase shifted the room or something.
it was something like that. Yeah, she.
And then yeah, there were like rubber walls or there was some
Mhm.
padding or something.
It was like she brought out the shadows from the walls and enclosed them into that space.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure, what had happened there. But then she like left him on the ceiling,
hmm
and I was like, dude, that's pretty crazy. But the descriptions of the characters, I like the descriptions of the characters, and that's really critical to keeping my attention if there's no underlying plot of erotic tension that's driving the action forward. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
What I'm saying is like the descriptions of the characters and just kind of like breathing life into them,
hmm
kind of like Carney. In so few words,
Yeah.
he just came to life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And that It's really hard to do.
I would say that the characters in the story, outside of the first two demons, are kind of what hooked me on the story, what kept me reading it.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the first two demons. They just seemed so bleh.
Well, they were bloodthirsty.
I mean, they weren't bloodthirsty necessarily.
Or whatever. They were soul thirsty.
But yeah, Knight was an interesting character. She had a bit of a dominatrix feel. She was very much a dominatrix. And I'm not normally into stories with those, so that was fun to me. But she's also a demon, so it's kind of expected. But where you said that she left him on the ceiling, that actually made me laugh because it was like he started off so conscious of what was going on around him and how he was being viewed by the other people around him. It seemed like he wanted to act like he didn't care, but he did. And then he was just left on the ceiling, completely naked. Someone from the hall in his dorm is going to find him. That's going to be an interesting thing to explain.
Maybe after he's dead. But sure,
Yeah.
they will at some point.
I'm sure that the resident advisors would go around and at least check on him if he's missed classes for a few days.
Well, um,
Particularly if he was like a
yeah.
freshman, as they were portraying it as. What I recall of college, they were a little more attentive to freshmen than the kids, the people in the upper levels of college.
Yeah, it really depends on the college. In the RA.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. But yeah, to me, it was just a fun story. And I mean, there were things that could have been done better, but the three main characters were really fun.
Yeah, well, I don't really have anything else to say.
No, that's pretty much it.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. As always, be sure to check out our work on inkandecstasy.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.